What's up YouTube, Warstorm here, coming at you guys with another video today. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my updated Dino deck profile. This is an updated build from the combo tutorial I showed a few weeks ago, so there'll be a link down below in the description box if you want to see how the deck plays, some test hands, etc. There will be a link down below in the description box, but this is the updated build. It's currently sitting at 44 cards. I've made a few changes, but obviously, like you could probably, you could negotiate things like Yugioh out if you want to get the card count down. But at 40, the reason I like having that higher card count is when you're playing a decent chunk of bricks, which this deck does. Playing a higher card count, while it does slightly decrease your consistency, the gain is that you have less of a chance of drawing those brick cards. So 44 cards is a pretty good number, and you have a lot of, 2-card combos to start with. So, and with things like Fossil Dig still at 3, you have enough consistency to warrant playing more of them. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get to the deck profile. So first off, for the level 4 dinos, we have the 3 Oviraptor, best starter card in the game, the 1 Miscellaneousaurus, and the 1 Giant Rex. Now obviously a few ban lists ago, Miscellaneousaurus went from 3 to 1, which means that generally you're going to be wanting to search it out and then activate its effect from hand. It's one of the but Oviraptor is still an insanely strong card. Giant Rex, like I showed in the combo tutorial, is really good. Summoning this off a Petite Pteranodon means you can still make a decent board even if you open Petite Pteranodon and not Baby Ceratosaurus. So it's a really nice card to have in the deck, and while it's not a combo piece, it's not a card you're afraid. And if you have all the pieces, it gives you something to put in the graveyard as well. So it's really, really nice to have, in my opinion. I really like having it in there. Speaking of Baby Ceratosaurus, we have the 1 Petite Pteranodon along with the 3 Baby Ceratosaurus. Obviously, Baby Ceratosaurus is an insanely good card, being able to pop it off of with Archosaur and then get another one in from deck and then activate Oviraptor. It's a really nice combo. Being able, off of 2 cards, being able to get 4 monsters for basically free is pretty nice. So, and Petite Pteranodon is still a good card to have because you can still make some nice boards even if you do open it. I've considered bumping it up to kind of give it a little bit more, the Archosaur, a bit more consistency, but I personally really like this lineup. It's a pretty standard Dino lineup, so I don't really see a reason to change it. Then for the level 1 dinos, we have the 1 Archosaur and the 1 Yugioh. I've seen a lot of builds that play multiple Archosaur. The main reason I would guess is because if you draw 1 Archosaur, sometimes when you're going into turns 3, it's kind of nice to have the second Archosaur just to summon out, but also I don't think you need more than 1 because it's not a card you really want to draw. So it also keeps the card count down. But Yugioh is mostly here because it's a good tuner to summon off a Baby Ceratosaurus, which is really nice. That being said, if you do want to play something else, Scrap Raptor is an alternative. I just like having Yugioh because it is a level 1, which means if you do draw Archosaur, it still gives you something to summon off Miscellaneousaurus, which is really nice. Then for our big dinos, I still have the 2 Tyranno along with the 1 Overtex. Overtex is typically going to be the one you summon off of your evolution pill, but there's some situations where Tyranno is a little bit stronger, and especially when you're going into games 2 and 3, it's good to have that. You want to have that first one to possibly summon off of the evolution pill, and then the second one to push into your opponent's board. It's also not a bad card to hard draw, assuming you don't have. It's just good to have that second one, so you have, you still have, it's just an insanely strong card. Also good to bring out games 2 and 3 because it's a light monster, which means it can't be super polyed for Starving Venom, which is nice. Now we're getting to the Shaddoll package. First off, we have the one of Falco. That's what makes the deck basically function, because as a tuner you can summon off of Needle Fiber. And that's the main reason it's in here. Then we have the 2 Wendy's along with the 1 Ariel. I've considered bumping Wendy up because that's the main reason this card is good, is you can summon it off of Wendy. I haven't decided yet though, but I think that Ariel's effect to be able to grab Construct back after it's been banished off of the trap card is really, really strong, and it allows the deck to climb into more It allows the deck to more easily climb into those big link monsters, so it's really nice for that. And Wendy, obviously, you know, giving it something to actually summon from deck is a pretty decent thing as well. It's a really strong card. Being able to summon Ariel from the deck, or any Shaddoll, is pretty nice. Then for the remaining Shaddoll lineup, we have 2 Squamata, 1 Beast, and 1 Hedgehog. I tried to keep the number pretty low because as long as you have access to Needle Fiber, you can summon Falco from the deck, and it keeps the count kind of low so you don't draw too many of them. You draw just enough, but not too many. And Squamata is obviously really strong because it can dump any Shaddoll card to the graveyard, so it's great deck thinning. Then we have, for the hand traps, you gotta have some. You have 3 Ash Blossoms and 3 Veilers. I personally think these are the strongest hand traps right now. And Veiler is nice to have because it gives you a light material to send off a construct. That's not Archosaur if you are going second, so it can be some decent for that as well. I prefer it over Gamma because, again, this deck has some bricks, so I'm trying to avoid playing too many. So that's why I think this is a pretty solid hand trap lineup, in my opinion. Then for the Dragoons, of course, we have the Red Eyes, the Dark Magician, and the Red Eyes Fusion for the Dragoon package. Now, moving on to some of the spells, we have the one of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burials are really, it gives you either of the packages you want. If you need Dino cards engraved or you need Shaddolls engraved, it gets you to any of those things you need, so it's a nice, good one-up to have in the deck. Then the 3 Fossil Digs, obviously, this is more consistency for the deck. The 2 Double Evolution Pills, I've never really been a fan of playing 3 simply because it just clogs up hands. You don't really want to draw it. The only reason I've really seen people justify playing more 3 is that it can be decent to hard draw into if your opponent happens to have a hand trap. But personally, 2 is a good number, at least to me. Then for the remaining spells, it's the Shaddoll Fusion spell. So we have 2L and 3 Shaddoll Fusion. Shaddoll Fusion is going to be the stronger card because it can play into fields, and typically almost every deck you play against is going to have something summoned from the extra deck. And Shaddoll Fusion is just that free. L can be really nice as a Schism replacement because you can use materials in your hand as well. This is a good fusion lineup. I think it gives you can draw the fusion spells, but you don't draw them too much. That's the main draw of that. And for the traps, we have the 1 Shaddoll Reincarnation and the 1 Shaddoll Schism. The combos I've seen can actually summon Construct twice, and in the same combo, which means you can link off Construct. You can send Shaddoll Incarnation with Construct's effect, then flip up, use it engraved, just flip up Ariel, which will then bring Construct back, which means Construct can then send Schism, and at that point you can also then link off the Construct again and trigger the effect to have something else to grab back from grave. It's a really nice little combo, and I think it's definitely warrants playing them both. Speaking of constructs, so we have our extra deck. We're moving on to that. We have two constructs and 2 windows for our Shaddolls. So, I was playing Apkalon, but personally I found Apkalon's the main point of Apkalon, I think, is to actually fusion summon it and then link it off because it can grab any Shaddoll thing from deck. But at that point, you're already in a pretty winning position. You could have just summoned Construct like a normal person. But anyways, I really think that this is I could consider putting Apkalon back. Personally, this is all I think you need. So for now, that's what I have in here. Then, of course, the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, along with the Verte Anaconda. As long as this package is around, I'm going to be playing these 2 cards. I personally think this needs to be banned, but as long as it's legal, I'm going to be able to be playing it. They're moving on to some other Link monsters. Link Karibo is in here because, as I showed in the combo thing, there are some situations where you need to link off Archosaur, and then you need to put a non-dinosaur engraved because Evolution Pill requires a Dino and a non-Dino. So if you play Link Karibo, it is a Cyberse monster, which means it makes Evolution Pill live once it hits the graveyard. So it's an important part of this deck. Then for the Link 2s, we have our Hoggifibrax, our Cross Sheep, our Proxyf Magician, and our IP Masquerena. Hulk or Needle Fiber makes this deck actually function. so it's a pretty mandatory part. You are playing a fusion deck, so Cross Sheep is a great extender to get you further into combos. Proxy F Magician is great because it eliminates the need for a fusion spell. As long as you have Falco and Archosaur and this, you can fusion summon for Construct without even needing a fusion spell. So it's one of the things that makes the deck function. IP Masquerena is really good for those situations where you get nibbed, and your Dino stuff obviously won't be tributed when you get nibbed. So you can use Masquerena, and then Masquerena can climb into Verte Anaconda since Verte can't be made with tokens. So it can also be a ladder play to get you to it could also be something just to make if you don't have anything else, if you do get plays do get stopped. Then the Nightmare, obviously the Nightmare Unicorn to go with the IP Masquerena for the Link 3. And for the 2 Link 4s, I have an Apollousa and a Borrelsword Dragon. If you have access code Talker, it is a definite replacement for this if you have it, because it is better. But Borrelsword is very easy for this deck to make. It pumps out Link. It's not one of those decks like Sky Striker, for example, that has a very hard time putting it out. This deck has no trouble summoning a bunch of monsters, so it's very easy to summon Borrelsword in this deck. Apollousa is obviously still a really strong card, and it tends to be your end goal to make. If you can. So they're obviously really strong Link monsters. And then for the 1 exceeds, we have an Evilsaur Dulka. Alternatively, if you don't like the IP Masquerena, you could play parts of the extra deck. You could play a Dweller and maybe a Laggy as well. Personally, I found Dulka tends to be the only rank 4 I ever really need. So anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think of this deck profile down in the comments section down below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. It's Warstorm, signing out.